My name is Maciej Mazur. Together with me is Wajiha Hamid. We will be presenting to you a little bit of story about network functions and how to monitor them. So let's start from some short introduction. So basically, our idea is that network function is not alone. If you are a creator or developer of a VNF, you have your own business logic and all the telco specific features that the network function is doing. However, there are also many non-functional requirements like the logging, monitoring, all the security related stuff, visualization, and so on, which are also important operational capabilities, but not core of the network function itself. And our idea is to make it easier for developers to create VNFs by basically automating all of this stuff. So if you look at the current monitoring ecosystem, there are so many different tools that allow you to monitor the metrics of your container, of your virtual machine and the whole infrastructure, and to visualize it nicely. So there is a big group of tools to choose from. And the same goes for logging and tracing and chaos engineering and so on. So there are some more and some less popular choices. However, the variety is quite big, and it's also something important to keep in mind that deploying a VNF or deploying a KNF means that it should integrate to currently existing monitoring tools. So basically, in some cases, for more popular functions, it will mean that actually it needs to be able to integrate to all of them. If you look at a typical telecom operator ecosystem, there will be hundreds of different network functions on the core side, on the radio side. There are OSS systems to monitor. So basically, every vendor coming in with the bigger telco vendors coming in with their IMS or UPF or whatever, they come already with some OSS capabilities, with monitoring tools, logging tools, and so on. So in a typical scenario, you will have many different monitoring and logging tools and some umbrella level system that gathers the metrics and gather the logs and allow you to search through them and do proper troubleshooting. So basically, if you look at the OSM and how it works currently and how it is deployed, it can be deployed with charms, which are basically the way to compose different components and relate them. And actually the same nice and familiar way of deployments can be used for additional functions of your network function. So if we look at a charm is basically a way to model the complexity of the deployment of an application. So you may imagine it as a piece of code that basically informs others in its surroundings what it can do. So basically, a network function charm would say that, hey, I'm using an SQL database, I can send my KPIs when in this and this frequency, and I can send my audit logs. So, okay, this is a good information. There can be also another charm, here in this example, Graylog, which collects audit logs, and these two charms finding themselves together, they can form a relation. And basically having such Graylog relation means that without any additional hassle, the network function will start sending audit logs to Graylog. The same goes for other relations like to Prometheus or databases or any other tools that you might need as additional things for the network function itself. And together with charms, there is a platform called Juju where there is a UI where you can display the bundles, how they connect together and how they operate. And also you can use it to deploy on different targets like basically Kubernetes environments, OpenStack environments, as well as public clouds and the bare metal. So the main benefit of such approach is that there's same set of tools and same automation everywhere. So it's easier to create it and easier to debug it and trace it in case of any problems in production. Also, this basically enables all the non-functional requirements in the entire telco ecosystem. So you can use it to deploy a network function on the microcloud at the edge. You can use it at the core network or on the OSS, BSS or other service layer things. And this is basically the tools that we want to demo to you today. And now jumping into the demo section, my colleague Wajiha.
Okay, thank you, Maciej. So I'm Wajiha Hamid, and I'm the product manager in Canonical. So, and today we will be getting the hands-on experience of what Maciej has just described. So to understand the complete picture, as Maciej has described, we will be taking a sample KNF and deploy it on the Kubernetes. And we will be using microkits in our case. And once the network function is deployed, then we will show that how this network function can be integrated with logging and monitoring stack easily, and which includes the tools like Prometheus, Grafana, and Elasticsearch. So, and at the end, we will scale the KNF, that is workload deployed on Kubernetes in our case, and see how this will be automatically integrated into the existing LMS stack. So overall, we would be monitoring this telco network function. Okay. Juju is the driver behind all of this, and I'll show that if your workload, and it can be your any telco workload, if it is charmed, that how easy it is for you to integrate it with the LMS stack using the Juju relations. And I am assuming that you know about the Juju relations and Juju controller and Juju model from the previous sessions, I hope. But if you don't know anything, just drop a question, or you can ask in the end. Okay, and later we can write, obviously, the OSM descriptors to make it possible through OSM. So with the very basic steps, let's start the demo, and we will first deploy the charms. So just to give you a context, charms are just the scripts that simplify the management or configuration task, and they are managed by Juju, actually. So we will first deploy the charms for LMS stack, and then we will deploy a charmed workload. That is KNF, Kubernetes network function, and then we will deploy so we will relate the KNF or integrate the KNF to the LMS stack. And then we'll, the interesting part is we will scale the KNF, and we'll show that how the existing LMS stack will integrate into the KNF. And then at the end, we'll order some logs in Graylog and see the metrics in Prometheus. First of all, here's my Kubernetes cluster deployed. We can see the Juju status in parallel, and here we will deploy our KNF and LMS stack. Okay, so before that, we have created a bundle for you all for deploying an LMS stack and integrate it with your network functions. So you can do it with just one command. So it's you can just see what I'm doing right now. You don't have to follow anything. Okay, so Juju, actually here I'm again giving you a bit of context. So Juju is just the application modeling tool that allows you to deploy, configure, and scale your application. So, and it will just need a controller and model to work right now. So model is a set of applications, like these all applications will be in the model, and these will be managed by the Juju controller here. So the first step will be we will deploy the Juju controller, and we will add a model in which we will deploy the Grafana and Prometheus first. We will do the monitoring part first, and later we will jump to the logging part. So first we will do the monitoring part. We will deploy Grafana and Prometheus, and we'll show that how with a single command we can relate these two. And then we will deploy our network function, and we will relate this to Prometheus. So let's do these steps first. Okay, so for bootstrapping the controller, we will be using this command, Juju bootstrap microkits, and it will be bootstrapping the Juju controller on microkits. And I have already created the controller, so just to save time, so I'm not doing it, but it just wanted to show this command. So if we go to the Juju controllers here, we can see that I have already have set my controller here, and that is with the name microkits localhost. So now let's add the model, and we will add the model by Juju add model, and our model name is ecosystem demo. So let's create it, and we can see here that the model is added in the Juju, and the operator is running. So yeah, so these two commands are just just for the basic configurations, and it's fine. Okay, so let's start with deploying the monitoring stack. So first of all, we will deploy our Prometheus, and we will do it with charms. So let's deploy Juju, deploy Prometheus, and we will see that what you were hearing in the last sessions about the workload operator and the pod operator, we can see here, like in the Kubernetes, when we do the Juju deploy, we have our operator pod and we have our workload pod. It will be ready in a minute, and we have added Prometheus as a unit here. So that's fine, I guess. And yeah, so let's move on to the Grafana. We will do the same with Grafana, and you'll see the actual operator of the Grafana, and then this operator will deploy the workload that is here, Prometheus. And same is the case with Grafana. And now we will relate our Grafana with Prometheus, that is with just one command, and that is juju relate Grafana and Prometheus. And we'll see that it will execute again to relate the Grafana and Prometheus together, if you can see here. And now let's deploy our network function. That is mock KNF in our case. We just have a sample file there. And now at the end of the monitoring stack, we just need to relate our mock KNF with Prometheus. And now we are done with our monitoring stack, monitoring part. It will take a minute, so let's go back to the slides, what we have done and what we are going to do. So we have done this part, we have deployed the monitoring part, and we have related our network functions to the Prometheus. And now we are going to deploy Graylog. We will deploy the Graylog, and then we'll relate this to the Elasticsearch with file beats and with MongoDB, because Graylog needs Elasticsearch and MongoDB to work. This will do the logging part for a network function. So let's try that. Okay, so for logging, we'll do the juju deploy Graylog. It's that simple. And it will ask me for the admin permissions, I guess, admin password in a minute. Yeah, so it needs admin password for the config option. So I will do just by juju config, and I'll set the password. So, and now it will, yeah, so now it's showing that it needs MongoDB and Elasticsearch relation. So now we will deploy MongoDB and Elasticsearch and relate that to Graylog. It's MongoDB, and it's just a parameter we need to set for Elasticsearch. Will be fine, I guess. And then we will deploy Elasticsearch. Okay, and at the end, we will relate our Graylog with MongoDB and Elasticsearch. So we are doing with MongoDB, and we will do it with Elasticsearch. And the last component was FileBeat, and we are using FileBeat to centralize all our logs from all the Kubernetes pods underneath. So we will deploy FileBeat, and we will relate this FileBeat to the Graylog, so it can give all the logs to the Graylog, and we can analyze there. Okay, so that's it. We have done all our the monitor. So the LMS stack is ready, and the LMS stack is integrated to our network function, and it has started the monitoring, and it starts auditing the logs from the KNF. So it will take a while to go in the active state. So I'll use the juju switch command to switch between the models. So that's also the beauty of juju, that the models can be reusable, and I'll do the switch model, and I can easily shift to another model that is very similar, and I have made that before just to save time. So we have shifted to that model, and if we see here, this is pretty similar to the previous model. So yeah, so all the nodes are active, and all the pods are running, all the units are active. So let's see what we can do here. So we have our Prometheus deployed, we have our Grafana deployed, we have our Graylog deployed. So let's go to these IPs and see what we have recorded there regarding our mock KNF. Yeah, so I put that those IPs here, and now we can access these. If we see the targets, Prometheus configured this mock KNF target 0. And in the Grafana, what we can do is create a dashboard, and we can search for some CPU utilization metrics and for our workload here. Here they are. So these are all the CPU utilization from our mock KNF0. That is the first unit, and that is our network function. So we are getting the metrics from our network functions. And if we go to the logging part now, then we have Graylog here, and we need to add input. And our input is coming from file beats, as we have discussed before. So we will configure that. And now it's running. So if we go to the search, we go like this. It will take some time to, let's see if we have inputs here. It's up and running. So it will take few, oh, there they are. Okay, so if we see the logs, we have our logs coming from the workload, and we can do any search query here. Like we have a call record data here, so we can do search any number, and we can see the activities. So if I put a sample number here, that is, it can be anything. So so we can have the record and logs for that numbers, and that is for the so that all the monitoring and logging part, it was from just one KNF function. So if you want to scale your KNF or your workload, so that is really interesting. So if we go and scale our KNF, we see that the Prometheus, Grafana, and Graylog will automatically integrated to the scaled application. Okay, so let's do that. The scaling part, we will scale our application to 3 by just juju scale application. That's it, and we will see that in a minute they will be ready. So that is our mock KNF1, mock KNF2, mock KNF0, and they are active. Oh, it's waiting state. And see, Prometheus is reconfiguring itself automatically to integrate those new added targets here. So this is waiting for a container, and Prometheus is reconfiguring itself automatically. So we didn't do anything with the Prometheus, with Grafana, and anything. We just did the juju scale, and everything happens with the juju relations here. This is active and running. We can see the Grafana. So if we go to the targets again, if we refresh that, we have our KNFs. We have the targets, and these are 3 applications that we just scaled up in our juju. So it has automatically reconfigured, and we are getting metrics from 3 applications now. And if we go to the Grafana, then we can just change from 0 to 1. We should have our data, and that's it. If we do it in the last 5 minutes, we'll have that, because we have just initialized that. So we have the data from here. So if we do get the data from, want to see the metrics from all the nodes, what we can do here is, and it's not working like this. Okay, let's come in here in a bit. So if we see the logs, we can also check that the logs are coming from the 3 nodes. If we search for mock KNF, it should be 1, 0, and so there are the logs from KNF1 also, and we should have the logs from the KNF2 also, and we should have the logs from the KNF 0 also. So if we do we have the logs from all the instances that we just have deployed. And let's add in the query. Let's refresh it. Reload, and we will add with ID 2 not found. Okay. It's not allowing me to enter, but we have seen that we got the metrics from KNF1 also, and we can have the metrics from KNF2 also. So yeah, and Prometheus have already configured these 3 workloads that has been deployed. So I guess that's it from my side. And at the end, yeah, so I would, if you want to try this whole thing that I have done here, we have made a bundle for you. And so that's again the beauty, that this is repeatable with all your workloads, and you don't need to configure the tools again and again. So we have created a bundle for you. If you can just do all this by doing by using this one command. I'm not going to do this, but here it is. You can do this by juju deploy KNF LMS stack. So you will have your LMS ready, and all the steps which I have done there, you just need to do the juju deploy KNF, and I will put that in the chat also. Okay, so you can deploy all this LMS stack and with this mock KNF in just one command. And if you want your network function to be charmed and get tested by this LMS stack, we would be happy to help you. And just post a comment on our discourse page. That is the link here. You just need to go and post a comment about your network function here, and we would be there to help you. That's it from my side. Thank you, Mache, and thank you, David Garcia, to help us out in the whole demo. And let's move on to the questions.